But Kristen, he seems to be particularly sensitive today to the criticisms, both in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, that his presence at these press conferences are doing him political damage.
He is sensitive to that, Chuck. He's been tweeting about that, making no secret of the fact that it's getting under his skin. It is worth noting that after the Wall Street Journal yesterday wrote that opinion piece essentially saying, look, these briefings, while they may have the right idea, last too long, veer off topic, and thereby take away from the broader goal of giving people the information that they need. President Trump firing back, noting that the ratings have been good. But look, we've been talking to aides and allies in and out of the White House, Chuck, and frankly, for weeks, they have expressed concerns about these briefings. They say, look, clearly the president wants to look like he is in charge, like he is the one driving the response to the coronavirus crisis. At the same time, these moments in which he engages with reporters, gets into back and forth, or veers off topic, or needs to be fact-checked. Those are the types of moments that they worry are actually undercutting his performance, Chuck. So he's clearly making it known that it's getting under his skin. But of course, the big question for him and for other top officials today goes to what you were talking about, the debate inside the administration about when to open up the economy. President Trump has long said, look, he wanted it opened up by Easter. That's this Sunday. That's clearly not going to happen. And now we have these social distancing guidelines in place until the end of the month. He has tweeted he doesn't think the solution should be worse than the problem. I am told if, in fact, they do try to start reopening parts of the economy, it would be in phases. And the Surgeon General certainly underscored that point today, Chuck.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.